All right, welcome back. And I figure for this one, less of a gaming thing this time around and more of well, it involves games. As you can see, it is a tier list. More specifically, the Phasmophobia Maps tier list. Um, Now, I did a little bit of looking, and unfortunately, there is no tier list as of yet that I could find on Tier List Maker that included that included Point Hope. So therefore, I decided to go and just try to record this tier list with difficulty in mind, in terms of how difficult each of these maps are. But with Point Hope, I will just give it an honorable mention at the end, even though I don't have an image to put it anywhere. So I think we'll just go in order of the maps here. It seems like they're already arranged in... Yeah, never mind. I was going to say they're arranged in alphabetical order, but high school should be further up. So, we're just going to go ahead and start with Bleasdale. So, how difficult is it to identify a ghost on Bleasdale? I'd say Bleasdale is... I would say it's slightly above average in terms of the difficulty. I think that this map isn't exactly like the most difficult map. It's got 3 stories. It's got 3 stories, pretty decent sized rooms. And it also has the infamous attic. If someone was to do like a top 10 of like the worst rooms in Phasmophobia, that would be pretty high on the list. So, yeah, like if it's in any other room, it's not like super difficult. It's like the rooms are slightly bigger. There's sometimes not as much interactables, but you can always bring interactables like books and such into the room and just have it like throw that stuff around. And by it I mean the ghost. And with this map, there's the hiding spots can sometimes be pretty spread out, except for the attic, where there's a lot of hiding spots up there. But if the ghost is in the attic, it's just like good luck getting to that hiding spot if you don't have a if you don't have a incense or a smudge stick, whatever you prefer to call it. I'm trying to switch over to calling them incense. So I think Bleasdale, just from the rooms, the attic and the hallway, the second floor hallway, I think that this earns a spot in the A tier. Not exactly like super difficult, but definitely can be difficult at times. Edgefields. Edgefield and I guess by comparison also Ridgeview. They're not bad. I'd say they're pretty average as far as the difficulty goes. They're decent size. They have they have 3 floors, and they're not super bad. With Edgefield, there isn't really any particularly difficult rooms. Like sometimes you can get a ghost, I think, in the hallway, and that can make things annoying. And of course, with a lot of the houses, there is always the basement, which is like it's kind of the biggest room. So I don't think Edgefield is too difficult. I think that this is fairly average on the difficulty thing, and I guess I may as well just put Ridgeview here as well. I think these two are basically the same. There's not much like in terms of differences to talk about between these two maps. They're perfectly they're nice maps, definitely fun to play, but they aren't super difficult because there's places to loop. The rooms aren't that too big, and there isn't anything like long hallways or anything like that for the ghost to like pick up speed as it just constantly sees you. And with that, we move on to the other farmhouse, Grafton. And Grafton's interesting. I think it's definitely more difficult of a map than Edgefield and Ridgeview, but I'm not exactly sure on where I would put this. Like, would I put this in A tier below Bleasdale? Or do I put it in B tier, but just at the top of B tier? That's really kind of a tricky question. There are some big rooms. Just like Bleasdale, there's plenty of big rooms, and big rooms often means definitely can take a bit longer to find the ghost. And also with bigger rooms, and in this case, fewer hallways, that means that there's more ways for the ghost to see you. And there's also, I don't know if this has been patched yet as of now, but I've definitely had problems with the ghost killing me through the stairs on this map. It'll be walking up the stairs to go to the second floor, and I'll be hiding underneath the stairs, which is a legitimate hiding spot. And the ghost just kills you through the stairs. And that can be rough. And I've had that happen to me so many times to where I just don't trust that hiding spot anymore. Yeah, Grafton's not too bad of a map though. Yeah, I think I'll leave it at the top of B tier. I think that's fine. Maple Lodge. This is a really difficult map. Probably one of the more difficult ones. We're starting to get into a stretch of really difficult maps here. Both the campsites are fairly tough. Maple Lodge is the bigger of the two campsites. So what is it exactly about Maple Lodge that's bad? It's very open. They put up walls more recently to really make the map to really help players, I guess, with frame rate issues. I don't really understand this change myself, because sure, like, some people have had frame problems, but like, I used to have them too, but I just went and adjusted my settings, and since then I didn't have a single problem. This map is really big. It's divided, but it's still plenty difficult to escape ghosts, because it is still open. What sections there are still plenty open. On top of that, the ghost is very difficult to find because it can be very hard for the average player, at least what I would think anyway, the average player, to find specific spots where the ghost can be. Like, is it going to be by a campfire? Is it going to be in the cabin? Is it going to be out front of the cabin? Just chilling out there by those park benches. It's really difficult to know. And the weather on the outdoor maps, Maple Lodge, Camp Woodwind, and to a minor effect, Sunny Meadows, can play a major role in this because snow makes everywhere cold. Same with the indoor maps, but it can also mess with your vision because there's no way to hide from the snow, which means that evidence like ghost orbs can be very difficult to find. Rain could stop you from lighting candles. It could stop you from lighting your lighters. It can also stop you from lighting the campfires if you're interested in doing that, just getting some free lights. This map, I think, is the first map that's going to go straight to the S tier. It's not the most difficult map, though I will say I think Maple Lodge is probably my least favorite map. If I was doing a tier list of my favorite maps, this would go down to the D tier. This is definitely one of the most difficult maps, so I don't think it's the most difficult. The most difficult would easily would have to go to one of these next two entries. Let's start with prison. So prison, I mean, we're just going to put it straight up in S tier. Prison, very notorious map. Same with the high school. Incredibly big map. It's got 2 stories. Lots of ginormous rooms for the ghost to be in. Thankfully, with the bigger maps, with the exception of Maple Lodge, all the cursed objects start like out front. I feel like that is one thing that's worth mentioning. Because you would think with like a bigger map, the cursed objects would be like incredibly hard to find, but no, they always place them out front, which is very nice of the developers. Prison is just big rooms, long corridors, so you know the ghost can very easily catch sight of you and really like speed up to get you, because I've been noticing, I've never gotten this confirmed, where the longer a ghost sees you, especially like more average ghosts like Yureis, Onryos, yokais, just to name a few, if they like see you for longer, they will start like speeding up to try and get you. Though they can still be looped, it's just like, I think that this definitely like raises the challenge a bit, because you don't want the ghost to be constantly seeing you. And so with prison, definitely lots of sight issues. The big cell blocks, cell block A, cell block B. You also have the cafeteria, the library. There's just so many big rooms. Even like the upstairs bathroom, the prisoner showers. Just so many big rooms, and it could be incredibly hard to find the ghost, and especially if you don't know like how to keep your sanity up when doing this map, there's a good chance you'll be completely drained on your sanity by the time you find the ghost room. And then from there, it's just like, things just get so difficult, and you'll be forced to use your sanity medications and maybe even cursed object chances, especially with tarot cards, to try and raise your sanity. So, yeah, pretty difficult map. High school, basically same arguments as prison. 2 floors, except in this case there aren't as many big rooms. Like, with high school, the rooms are either ginormous or small. There's no in between. There's stuff like the cafeteria, the gymnasium, which in my opinion is the worst ghost room out of them all. Literally, it's an entire school gym, an entire high school gym. And just super difficult to find a ghost that's in there. I've had like 2 gym ghosts, and both of them were incredibly hard to find just because the room is so big. You got cafeteria, gym. You've got the entryway, which is pretty big. Lots of big rooms, and then you have like all the classrooms and whatnot, which are pretty small and nothing really of note. But there's so many classrooms and so many bathrooms that you're just left exploring. Paramics are definitely essential for prison and high school to try and pick up noises that the ghost might be making. So, yeah, in terms of difficulty, like, how does this compare versus prison? Because it's harder than Maple Lodge, especially with those walls. But is it tougher than prison? Because prison has a lot bigger rooms. It has a lot more bigger rooms. It has it has a lot of long corridors, same as high school, especially with those high school hallways. And I feel like in prison, hiding spots are a bit less reliable. So I think I'll put high school S tier, but I'm going to put it above Maple Lodge, below prison. I think prison's going to be the number 1. I don't think Sunny Meadows is as hard as prison. But maybe I'll talk myself into it, kind of making this stuff up on the fly. Sunny Meadows Restricted. This one's not bad. This one's not that bad at all. Definitely, you know what? I'm actually kind of considering making a change here. I think I'm going to put Edgefield and Ridgeview down, and I'm going to leave Grafton and Beat here. I think that's better. Sunny Meadows Restricted. So there's two versions of Sunny Meadows Restricted, and then you got the full-on asylum, well, besides the third floor, thank God. Sunny Meadows Restricted is very, how exactly do I phrase this? Like, it can be difficult because this map isn't exactly the same thing every single time. Like, with all of these maps so far, what you can expect, you can expect the same thing every single time. You know, like some hiding spots will change. Obviously, the ghost will be in different rooms, but with all of these maps, you at least know what you're getting into. Whereas Sunny Meadows Restricted, you don't really have a clue what you're getting into. Like, are you gonna have, like, basically the restricted portions of this map are, like, you can have, like, the left wing or the right wing blocked off. You can have downstairs left wing, downstairs right wing blocked off. You can have the courtyard be blocked off. It's difficult to really describe it. Just a lot of the sections of the map get cut off. And the game will give you one of those sections along with the entryway and chapel. So it's still a decently big map. But this is tough to rate because it's just like anywhere you go, you can make a different argument. I think I'm going to put Sunny Meadows in B tier. I know this is kind of a vague explanation. For those that have played this map, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Like, the map being split up into sections makes this very difficult to rate on restricted because you don't know what section you're going to get. And this can make things more difficult, especially trying to learn the map. But it's nothing compared to like the actual Sunny Meadows where you get all the sections. And there's just nothing, there's just not much that you can really do about it. Now we're on to Sunny Meadows, and Sunny Meadows, this is live or die. I think Sunny Meadows is more difficult than high school, but not more difficult than prison. So, Sunny Meadows. Last of the S tiers. Pretty obvious why for those that have played this. This is the new Asylum. There was an old map called the Asylum in the earlier versions of this game, but they decided to remove it and remake it into Sunny Meadows, which in my opinion is a better remake. If Asylum was on here, it would probably be above Prison. I don't have that many memories of Asylum, but from what I do remember that map being super, super difficult. But anyway, on to Sunny Meadows. So, Sunny Meadows, I wanted to save the explanation about this map for the full version of Sunny Meadows. So, with Sunny Meadows, you have the entryway, which leads straight to a chapel. And then from there, there's an upstairs and downstairs at the entryway and at the ends of the left and right wings. And basically the wings themselves have their own door locks. So basically, if you were to unlock the door to, let's say, top floor left wing, you can get trapped in there because the ghost can lock that door. It locks all the lockable doors, the front door and all the doors that lead to the different wings, as well as the staircase doors that lead upstairs and downstairs between the different wings. Though, most importantly, not the entryway stairs. It doesn't lock those doors. It doesn't lock that door. I mean, I think there's only one door, if I'm remembering correctly. So, with the Sunny Meadows, it's just like you go into one of those sections, you can, and if the ghost is there, you can get locked in with the ghost. And in those sections, hiding spots are still there. There are hiding spots in those hallways, those four different hallways, but you can get caught in some really unfortunate situations. Like, granted, with prison and high school, you also suffer kind of the same thing where you can get caught in really bad spots, and there just won't be any escape unless you have like an incense stick, or even with the incense stick, you still could be in deep, deep trouble. But with Sunny Meadows, there's just no escaping the hallway until the hunt is over, making things real difficult, real fast, real dangerous. Also, there is some form of noise that constantly occurs on this map. You can hear like plenty of noises, and sometimes it can be easy to mistake those noises on like a paramic with actual ghost interaction noises. So yeah, I would think that all these challenges make Sunny Meadows a very formidable map, but it's not the most difficult map. I think that I struggle a lot more personally with Prison than I do with Sunny Meadows. Although I will say Sunny Meadows is easily my favorite big map. I love this map. It's very terrifying, and it's a very fun, very unique experience. So now we move on to the two easiest maps. Pretty easy to tell where they're gonna go. So Tanglewood. This goes into the D tier. Really easy. Really, really easy map. None of the rooms are particularly very big. There's not a lot of space to be searching. Plenty of hiding spots, plenty of closets. There's lockers, a basement to hide in. The ghosts sometimes won't even go into. Spots to loop it, like the kitchen and the dining room. Plenty of things to be done there. But I would argue that Tanglewood is not the easiest map in the game. People think that this is the easiest one because it's the smallest. And while Tanglewood definitely, I think, is the smallest map, I would say that it is not exactly... I would not say that it is the easiest one. I would give that to Willow, which we'll talk about that in a second. Because one difficulty that I often run into in Tanglewood is with the entryway. If you get hunted at the entryway and you don't have like closets available to you, you can get very easily cornered. You can very easily get cornered. And that makes things, that can make things rough. That can make things plenty rough. So yeah, I would think that Tanglewood is the second easiest, and then we'll move on to Willow, which I think is the easiest map in the entire game. Unlike Tanglewood, you can't really get cornered as easily, at least in my opinion. Just like Tanglewood, plenty of hiding spots, not very big rooms. Like, I would say the average room in Willow is bigger than Tanglewood, but it's not too significant of a difference. Plenty of spots to loop ghosts, plenty of spots to hide, even spots that aren't really considered hiding spots, like hiding right next to the shelf in the living room, or hiding behind one of the tables in the corner of the garage. Those count as like pretty decent hiding spots, even though they aren't official hiding spots. And you can get that cough made me lose my train of thought. You can get evidence very easily. You can escape ghosts very easily. There's not a lot to Willow, granted, but I think that this is my favorite map. Just, like it's the easiest map and it's my favorite just because there's so much that I can do on the map. And the rooms I think are the most interesting and the most fun. And the map is not really too overly difficult. My opinion, the best map. And also the easiest. And again, just to reiterate, the reason I think Willow is easier than Tanglewood is just because there are fewer ways to get cornered. Then finally, we end at Camp Woodwind. And Camp Woodwind, I'm going to go ahead and put this up in the A tier. Less difficult than Bleasdale, but definitely more difficult than Sunny Meadows Restricted and Grafton. So Camp Woodwind is a very small map. So you would think by that logic, like smaller maps, like I put Tanglewood and Willow down in D tier, should it be down there with those two? No. This map proves that size isn't everything. This map is small, but it's completely outdoors. There are no indoor areas except for the bathrooms. And you should be so lucky if you get the ghost to show up in the bathrooms. This map is tough. It's very open. There's not a lot of spots to hide, and if the ghost can very easily catch you, it can very easily see you and be able to find your location and see where you're hiding and come and kill you. There's plenty of hiding spots on this map that just aren't safe. Like, they're hiding spots that are put there by the developers, but the ghost can just randomly wander to those spots and kill you. I find that this happens far more frequently on Camp Woodwind and to some degree on Maple Lodge than on any of the other maps. So yeah, that's that can be very, very rough there. So yeah, escaping ghosts is pretty troublesome, and then there's the classic outdoor thing where the weather can definitely mess with you, and also there's one other thing I'm forgetting to mention. Yeah, and then there's also the fact that all the areas are so open, which makes escaping ghosts troublesome, as I've already mentioned, but it also makes finding a ghost tricky as well, because it's hard to find stuff like orbs, especially with the weather, and it's also tough to find stuff like freezing temperature and EMF, because there's just so many different areas this ghost can be in, and the boundaries are a bit more difficult. So I think that this map is definitely above average on difficulty. I'm borderline considering putting it over Bleasdale. But I think I'm going to leave it where it is right now. I could very easily get my mind changed as to which is more difficult between these two. Because I know I talked about Bleasdale having some not so difficult parts of this, whereas Camp Woodwind is plenty difficult. Yeah, you know what, screw it. I'm going to put Woodwind over Bleasdale. Every area in Bleasdale is rough. Or, sorry, every area in Woodwind is rough, but not every area in Bleasdale is rough. And so that's it for all the images, but we still have one more map to talk about, and that is Forlorn Hope. So, Forlorn Hope. This map's tricky to talk about. I don't exactly have the best experience with Forlorn Hope. For those of you that have watched my Twitch, the link will be in the description, by the way. We'll have seen probably the Cursed stream. It's the first stream, I think, that I actually left as a highlight, so that way I could capture it. And this is a stream where me and a friend of mine, streamer friend of mine named Jackson the Pro, where we played a ton of games on Forlorn Hope on Nightmare difficulty. and we basically got our asses handed to us. I think there was only one win where both of us were alive. Because we just kept just dying from all sorts of random stuff. This map is, at least as of right now, a bit bugged with the sound. I'm not sure if they've completely figured it out, because there was one time where in that stream where I walked up to the top of the lighthouse only to get killed. In fact, actually, I had Jackson's streams opened here, but we're going to go to my channel, and I'm going to mute the volume in a minute, but we are going to go and look. See, this is what I'm talking about right here, the cursed stream. Oops. What did I just do? Okay. And yeah, there is one point somewhere later in this video where I'm going up to the top of the lighthouse. At the time, I wasn't really looking too much for the ghost. I was more just interested in seeing the sunset at the top of the lighthouse. Me and one of my newer followers at the time were going to see the sunset at the top. I'm trying to see if maybe I could find it, because it was one of the few games that I actually died. Okay, I think I might have found it. So here, you know what, I'll just keep the volume off. So basically here, I'm heading up to the top of the lighthouse to see the sunset, and the follower, he's just ahead of me, and I don't know how he heard this coming. Very weird pause frame there, but he heard the ghost and booked it. Me, I replayed this like time and time again, and like, you can hear the ghost, but it's so quiet. Like, you wouldn't be able to tell that it was just in front of the stairs, ready to come marching down the stairs and snap someone's neck. In my case, my neck. Then I walked right into the ghost, got instantly murdered. And you could see that kind of like frustrated me a little bit. Wasn't really all that happy about that. Or actually, no, you guys can't see it because my webcam is blocking it. But oh well. I was fairly frustrated there. So with that, with the how do I put this? With those audio bugs, that's basically what they are. The map can be fairly difficult at times. The map is very compacted itself, and really the only problem I've had is the ghost being on the first floor, where the living room and the entryway is, because every time it says it's in the entryway, it usually can end up in the living room. And the same thing with the living room and ending up at the entryway. Likes to wander between those areas a lot, so it's a very big area to kind of keep your eye on. So that's one very difficult area there, and the rooms are very compacted, so if you don't have crucifixes, which crucifixes work wonders in smaller rooms, but with the crucifix like in the room, you'll be able to stop ghosts from hunting a lot easier because there's not a lot of room for it to hunt. But when it does hunt, you can very easily get caught with your pants down, so to speak, and get your neck snapped. Like I just popped my finger there. You can very easily get your neck snapped and get killed by the ghosts because they like to spawn in front of the doors. Definitely an argument that every single map faces, but I find with Point Hope that this is definitely a bigger issue than maps like Edgefield, Ridgeview, and even Tanglewood to an extent. So, yeah, in terms of where I would rate Forlorn Hope, again, if I had an image, so you'll just have to just take a mental note of this. I think I would probably put it in the B tier, but I'm not sure where in the B tier it would go, because it's not an overly difficult map. I would argue that Woodwind and Bleasdale are far harder than Forlorn Hope. But in terms of the actual difficulty, like, there's Sunny Meadows restricted, like, you don't know what you're getting into. And some areas are definitely harder than others. And with Grafton, there's plenty of bigger rooms, harder to escape the ghost. Whereas the ghost can get very easily, like, trapped and stuck in Forlorn Hope. That's one thing that I also encountered in this particular stream here, was the fact that I just kept running into issues. Or the ghost kept running into issues too. Both parties kept running into issues. So I think I would put it at the bottom of B tier. I think that it would be below Grafton and below Sunny Meadows. Restricted. But I don't see how I could ever justify it being harder than these two, or even like being on the same level as Woodwind and Bleasdale in terms of difficulty. So yeah, just to review, Prison is the top hardest, Sunny Meadows second, High School third, Maple Lodge fourth. These maps are the hardest ones. Then we go down to above average difficulty with Camp Woodwind and Bleasdale. Then we go down to B tier, where we have Sunny Meadows Restricted, Grafton, and Point Hope. And then C tier, we have Edgefield and Ridgeview. And then finally at D tier, the easiest maps, maps that shouldn't really provide much in the way of challenge, Tanglewood and Willow. I wonder what you guys think of this tier list. Do let me know. Would you change any of these places, these placements? Would you agree with anything? Would you disagree with anything? Let me know how bad I am at the game, I guess. And without further ado, I will see you guys next time.